Building a North American Community. Fact or fiction? Michael Medved, a popular talk radio host, says, "This paranoia and groundless frenzy has been fomented and promoted by a shameless collection of lunatics and losers and crooks and cranks and demagogues and opportunists who claim the existence of a top-secret master plan to join the U.S., Canada, and Mexico in one big superstate, and to replace the good old Yankee dollar with a worthless new currency called the Amero." John Hawkins, a popular blogger at Right Wing News, says, "There's a Council on Foreign Relations report called Building a North American Community that's being used as the blueprint for a merger of the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. When I asked Lee Feinstein, executive director of the task force that produced the report, if the report favors merging the United States, Canada, and Mexico, his reply was, "It doesn't favor anything of the kind. Indeed, if you read through the report, you will find that it doesn't call for the creation of a superstate." The federal government says the SPP, the Security and Prosperity Partnership, in no way, shape, or form considers the creation of a European Union-like structure or common currency. So why all of the hullabaloo about a North American Union? Because if it looks like a skunk and smells like a skunk, it's probably a skunk, regardless of what you call it. Let's look at some facts so you can decide for yourself. Robert Pastor, co-chair of the Council on Foreign Relations task force that produced the report John Hawkins referred to, calls his vision a North American community. His book, Toward a North American Community, and his research papers for the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations explains why he is often called the father of the North American Union. Let's hear what he wants. Pastor says the three nations of the North American community should adopt a common external tariff, adopt a North American approach to regulation, establish a common security perimeter by 2010, establish a North American investment fund, establish a permanent tribunal for North American dispute resolution, hold an annual North American summit meeting, establish minister-led working groups, create a North American Advisory Council, and create a North American Interparliamentary Group. Just who is Robert Pastor? Michael Medved says, Pastor is a loony leftist, slightly unhinged professor at American University, who bears no connection whatever to the Bush administration or the dreaded Security and Prosperity Partnership. An adult academic with zero power in the government. Were Michael Medved correct, there would be no need to worry. Let's see if he is correct. Actually, Pastor's vision has been under construction for decades. In 1975, Pastor was executive director of the Lenowitz Commission on U.S. Latin American Relations. He then was appointed director of the Office of Latin American Affairs in the Carter administration. He maneuvered the Panama Canal Treaty through the Senate in 1978. He was nominated by Bill Clinton to be ambassador to Panama, but not confirmed. He has been advisor to every Democratic presidential candidate since 1976. And in 2002, he became Vice President of International Affairs and Professor of International Relations at American University. Pastor is also the Vice Chairman of the Council on Foreign Relations Task Force that produced the 70-page report entitled Building a North American Community. It could be a coincidence, but this report was released just 1 week before President Bush met with Mexico's Vicente Fox and Canada's Paul Martin, March 23, 2005, to launch the Security and Prosperity Partnership. Special note, Carla A. Hills, U.S. Trade Representative in the George H.W. Bush administration, who negotiated the North American Free Trade Agreement, served on this task force with Robert Pastor. She was also vice chairman of the Council on Foreign Relations and a member of the Executive Committee of the Trilateral Commission. The essential building blocks of the North American Union include the Free Trade Area of the Americas, launched in 1994, Carla Hill's North American Free Trade Agreement, also launched in 1994, the Central America Free Trade Agreement, signed in 2005, and the Security and Prosperity Partnership, also launched in 2005. Skeptics contend that the FTAA, NAFTA, and CAFTA are simply trade agreements, and that the SPP is simply an effort by these three nations to improve cooperation on major issues. What could possibly be wrong or threatening about this? Here's what's wrong with these agreements. 1. They are transforming our system of government. 2. They usurp the constitutional authority of Congress. And 3. They further erode national sovereignty. The bedrock principle on which our system of government is built is set forth in our Declaration of Independence. Governments derive their just power from the consent of the governed. When public policy, including trade policy, is made by appointed bureaucrats, those who are governed by those policies have no way to directly grant nor to withhold their consent. Robert Pastor says that NAFTA was merely the first draft of an economic constitution for North America. Let's take a closer look at the North American Free Trade Agreement. Let's see precisely how NAFTA is transforming our system of government. NAFTA is governed by a commission consisting of cabinet-level appointees from each country. It is implemented by a secretariat consisting of appointees of the commission. Take note, the people who govern NAFTA are appointed and are not directly accountable to the electorate. NAFTA's Article 511 requires that each nation conform its laws to the uniform regulations adopted by the appointed policymakers, and that any modifications or additions to the uniform regulations be adopted by the member nations within 180 days. The people who are governed elect a president, 100 senators, and 435 representatives. The president appoints a U.S. trade representative, who is confirmed by the Senate. The trade representative is the U.S. representative on the NAFTA Commission. It is the NAFTA Commission that creates trade policies for the three nations and appoints a NAFTA Secretariat to coordinate and implement those policies. NAFTA's Article 511 requires Congress to conform its laws to NAFTA's uniform regulations. NAFTA working groups, consisting of federal employees throughout several agencies, then impose NAFTA's trade policies on the people who are governed.